Calaroga Shark Media.
Hi there, I'm Johnny Mack with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy, comedians, and the comedy industry. Frank Calendo, there's a name you don't hear as much as you did, say, 20 years ago. He was red hot for a while there when I was back at Sirius. He's in Naples, Florida tonight doing a couple shows if you want to go see him. Calendo said he heard that John Madden never liked Frank Calendo's John Madden impression. John Madden might be the only person who didn't like it. Calendo said, I finally met him at a Super Bowl in Dallas. They were at a Four Seasons hotel, and Calendo said it made Madden's grandchildren laugh, but Madden got it somewhat. Calendo says it helps to have a deep voice to do impressions, adding that some voices take years to perfect. Some voices are similar, like Leonardo DiCaprio and John Malkovich, or Kermit the Frog and Fozzie Bear. Calendo explains it's just kind of manipulation of those muscles or whatever it is in your throat and having the muscle memory to go back to it. He also studies the eyes of celebrities because the eyes tell you the way the person thinks. For example, Jeff Goldblum has eyes that dart back and forth like a painting in a haunted house. Calendo promises clean comedy and impressions of famous people from Madden to Al Pacino to Morgan Freeman and says, I'm PG at the dirt. Calendo says, I'm PG at dirtiest. There's no F words. I'm real tame. If you're in Naples, Florida, he's at the Off the Hook Comedy Club tonight and tomorrow. Speaking with impressionists, I just moved the story up. I originally didn't have these two paired, and I'm like, oh, these go together. Hank Azaria says he is contracted to voice characters on The Simpsons for 3 more years. He told USA Today about The Simpsons, I'm not announcing the end of it. We might go beyond that. That'll make season 40. Every year, I think a new crop of tweens discover the show, and that keeps us relevant. Back in February of 25, Frank Azaria told the New York Times, I imagine that soon enough, artificial intelligence will be able to recreate the sounds of the more than 100 voices I created for the characters on The Simpsons over almost 4 decades. It makes me sad to think about it. Oh, AI no doubt could do that. The conversation turned to impressionist Matt Friend, who does Howard Stern, Stanley Tucci, and Michael Bublé. Matt Friend first did an impression for Hank Azaria when Matt was 15. Turns out Hank Azaria was college roommates with Matt Friend's father, Bill. That's wild. As for that first meeting, Azaria said, I had never heard anyone at any age be more brilliant vocally than this kid. And he asked me for advice, and I gave him a lot of advice, and he really did take it. And I think Matthew's so talented, he would have made it no matter what, but I think I probably saved him a lot of time in telling him what to do and what not to do. You need to have plastic vocal cords. You know how some people like cilantro, and for some people it tastes like soap? It's kind of like that. You can either do it or you can't. With Matthew, some he got right away, and some he's developed over the years. Same for me. The Simpsons is coming up on its 800th episode next weekend. They've announced the guest stars for that episode. They include Quinta Brunson, Kevin Bacon, and Questlove. Also, stars of The Pit, Noah Wyle, Catherine Lanassa, and Taylor Dearden will play medical personnel in the episode. Music by Boys II Men. Sure, why not? In Irrational Treasure, the Simpsons travel to Pennsylvania. Hence, all the Philadelphia and Pittsburgh icons lending their voices to the episode. Boys II Men will sing a new version of the Simpsons opening theme. They'll also provide a new version of the end title music. Here's the plot. Marge's crusade to get the family dog in better shape leads to her entering Santa's Little Helper in canine agility competitions and a trip to the National Dog Show in Philadelphia. There, Homer suddenly find themselves and the dog mixed up in a historical conspiracy adventure worthy of a National Treasure movie. Episode 800, Sunday, February 15th. Now, that's also the day of the Daytona 500, which is also on Fox, and the Daytona 500 has a tendency to get either rain delayed or otherwise delayed, so, set your DVRs carefully. I gotta scroll back up here. I did the stories out of order that I originally planned. Hey, you know that guy Jay Leno? Yeah, he's the worst, I know. Listen to what he's doing now. He's taking part in an all-star comedy lineup for the In the Spirit of the Game Charity Awards Dinner and Auction that takes place tomorrow at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. It will benefit youth baseball players. The event is co-hosted by Dodgers broadcaster Joe Davis and MLB Hall of Famer Trevor Hoffman. Now you're like, Jay Leno, that guy's the worst. Well, you know who else is doing this event? Quote-unquote breakout superstar Nikki Glaser. Oh, yeah, now it's cool, right? Now Nikki Glaser is doing it. Now you're like, oh, that sounds like a really important thing. It was dumb 5 minutes ago. The In the Spirit of the Game Awards Dinner and Auction benefits the Perfect Game Believe in Baseball Foundation, which provides financial assistance to deserving young players, helping them with costs associated with travel baseball, which could include coaching, training, or educational opportunities. There's cocktails and a silent auction at 5:30, dinner, awards, and comedy performances at 7. That's at the Laugh Factory tomorrow. So just another example of Jay Leno being the worst person who ever lived. Hey, Ted Lasso coming back for season 4. The gang's all back. They convinced Jason Sudeikis to do it. Hannah Waddingham is back. Juno Temple, Brett Goldstein, Brendan Hunt, Jeremy Swift, they're all back. In season 4, Ted returns to Richmond, taking on his biggest challenge yet, coaching a second division women's football team. The logline is throughout the course of the season, Ted and the team learn to leap before they look, taking chances they never thought they would. Roy Wood Jr. will host the 78th Annual Writers Guild Awards at Manhattan's Edison Ballroom on March 8th. Roy's done all right for himself, betting on himself leaving The Daily Show. Roy said it's an honor to again be trusted with leading a night of celebration as we honor one of the most important components in creating the content that gives us either an opportunity to escape or to learn more about the world we all share. Seth Meyers asked Stephen Colbert about running for public office. In the past, I would have supported a Stephen Colbert candidacy, but now that he's gone out of his way to ruin Star Trek as the voice of the announcements at Starfleet Academy, I do not support anyone who destroys Star Trek. Colbert said, that's something I have discussed with my faith leader and my family. Colbert's Catholic, right? I find it atypical, I'm Catholic, that he keeps saying faith leader. I went to Catholic grammar school. I went to a Jesuit high school. I never really heard the term faith leader. I just find that interesting. Neither here nor there. I'll ask Deacon Mike about it. Let me text him. Hold on. All right, I have texted Deacon Mike. We'll see if he gets back to me before we're done recording today. Catherine Ryan did a one-off show in Los Angeles while she was out there, hooked up with the LA Times. They asked her about this whole Beckham thing. You saw this. The Beckham family is all fighting. Talked about this the other day. Catherine Ryan said it's a wonderful reprieve from fascism, ice, and Greenland. Finally, just some light family drama that everyone can kick back and enjoy. I feel like Victoria Beckham is such a treasure in the UK, and I'm quite good friends with several Spice Girls. I went to Mel B's wedding earlier last year. I'm not close with Victoria Spice, but obviously I'm a woman of that generation where I learned to shake my booty to the Spice Girls in 1996, so I have undying loyalties to her. There's this very interesting Nepo conversation to be had, and her son Brooklyn was one of the original ones. He was born at a time when in the UK we were obsessed with celebrity, as opposed to now, when we really hadn't figured out yet how damaging it might be to take an infant and follow his entire life and commodify it as though he was our own. But I'm definitely enjoying all the memes and jokes. A lot of fans, myself included, have been downloading Victoria's single on iTunes. We decided it was a national travesty that she never had a #1 hit because all the other Spice Girls have independently had #1 singles. And just yesterday, Victoria's single, Innocent Girl, got to #1 on iTunes. The LA Times said, so, has the controversy made Posh Spice feel more relatable? Catherine Ryan said, I think it actually has been an incredible vehicle for her. This is the most relatable she's ever been. Vicky B, drunk on the vino, being inappropriate at the wedding, we love it. I think that the Beckhams have been almost like royalty and quite untouchable. This has made her really relatable, having her son lash out at her like this so publicly. I know in LA, you really validate everyone's mental health. I hope this is the end of mental health. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And this very privileged little boy claims to have mental health problems and anxiety over his mom dancing with him at a wedding.
Comedy stock market.
Thank you, Bert Reynolds. Every Friday, we take a look at the comedy stock market where I make some recommendations about which comedian stock we should buy, which comedian stock we should sell. No sells this week, but I've got 2 buy recommendations for you. The first one, buy some Ron Funches. I think that Trader's appearance did really well for him, and he picked up a lot of new fans. He's fantastic, and I see nothing but praise for him on social media. So buy some Ron Funches stock. And let's buy some Trevor Noah stock ahead of the Grammys. You know, there's been some things in the news this week, and Trevor, I think, is the right guy to say it. He commented last year about deportations, and I don't think Trevor will pull his punch. Now, it's a tough spot because it's the Grammys, and it's not why anyone's there, but I think Trevor is savvy enough to nail the middle there. So let's buy some Trevor Noah, and let's buy some Ron Funches, and we might have to sell stock in Deacon Mike, who has yet to text me back yet. I mean, if we were watching football, he would have gotten back to me 7 times already. TV Insider asked Bert Kreischer, what does the Kreischer family think of how their characters are portrayed on Free Bert? Bert said, listen, it's weird when someone uses your name and uses your likeness and misrepresents you to the point where it never really happened. Then you're like, wait, I'm sure that has to be a sensitive area. At the same time, these are fictitious takes on nonfiction parts of my life. I'm hoping everyone's going to be on the same page and see the art for what it is. At the same time, it's their names and likeness. If they're not happy, I'll deal with it then. He discussed the opening scene, minor spoiler, where Rob Lowe appears. It's the whole setup for the show. Rob Lowe asks him to just take his shirt off again, Bert addressed it, saying, I think we wanted to show that some people only see me as the guy who takes off his shirt. We tried desperately to make sure there was a fair representation of how people see me outside looking in, and that's why I feel the way I do on the series. That was drawn specifically from a period in time in my life where I did a corporate gig for a hedge fund. They said, yo, put the shirt back on, take it off, and tell the machine. And I was like, wow, this is what I am to people. Then I think the question Rob poses is the internal question for me, which is, would they show up if you didn't take your shirt off? Once you get to that question, then what's my worth? Was it easy to get Rob Lowe to do it? Oh, it was awesome. Rob is so easy. I sent him a text and he asked if we could shoot it in Santa Barbara, and I was like, yep, he was in, and he gave us so much extra time he didn't need to give us. He was just the man. TV Insider asked Bert Kreischer, how was it doing scripted as opposed to what you do on stage? Bert said, it helped that I kind of wrote the scripts. I'd put it the way I'd say it anyway. There were certain scenes where it was hard. I'm obviously not an actor, but at one of the podcast companies I work, sometimes they would ask me to do some lights. Voice acting would be very generous, but they had some script and they needed somebody to voice a cop. And I struggled trying to stick to the actual printed words because I was like, I don't speak this way. And I would always ask if I could do an alternate take and phrase things the way I phrase them. I don't know what they actually wound up using. So respect for Bert here, who said there were certain scenes where it was hard. There was a scene where I was apologizing to the Vanderthal family. I had to say the same sentence 4 different ways. That was a tough one because you can't repeat an improv because you're saying the same thing, but differently. That was a tough one. Then some of the more emotional scenes were tough for me. I think it was good as long as we were moving fast. The listening was tough. And that is your comedy news for today. All right, Deacon Mike did not get back to me, so maybe sometime next week I'll backsell this story. He'll eventually text. Come on, Deacon Mike, what are you doing? All right, tomorrow on this program, I had recorded some January weekend fillers. So if you're a new listener, especially this time of year, the news is a little light, so sometimes I do weekend filler. That is tomorrow. What I did was there's a website where you can take a look at a particular podcast and see the audience share between that podcast and other podcasts. I ran daily comedy news through it, and it shows what you guys are also listening to, and I just thought it was interesting. So that's tomorrow's episode. Tomorrow's a little light. And then on Sunday, Trevor Noah hosts the Grammys. So I'll do a Grammys episode, and that means Johnny Mack can't pre-tape Monday because I got to stay up for the Grammys. But Monday will be a normal episode with Grammy stuff up top. And then Monday at noon Eastern, the results of Comedy Survivor Week 4. Hopefully the sun will come out at some point. It'll be warm again, but that ain't the forecast right now. Stay warm, folks. See you tomorrow.